Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let us continue on with the tafsir of Surah Al-Baqarah. Ayah number 31, Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا ثُمَّ عَرَضَهُمْ عَلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ فَقَالَ أَنْبِئُونِي بِأَسْمَاءِ هَؤُلَاءِ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. And he taught Adam the names of everything, and then he displayed them to the angels, and he said to them, tell me the names of these things, if indeed you are truthful. So in this ayah, some key words, allama, from ta'aleem, to teach or to educate. We learn of this name given to the first man and the first prophet, which is Adam. Adam linguistically means asmar, or brown colored. And this is because Adam alayhi salam was of a brown complexion. And Allah Jalla wa Ala teaches mankind what he does not know. He taught Adam alayhi salam the names of all matters and all things. Now this teaching, how did it occur? It may have been through inspiration, that Allah Jalla wa Ala immediately and secretly and quickly inserts this knowledge in the mind of Adam. This is possible, and it is also possible that he taught Adam alayhi salam via Jibreel alayhi salam, the angel. As for the name of Adam, like we said, it can come from udma, which means brownness. It can also come from adim, as in the adim of the earth, which is the surface of the earth and the dust of the earth, because the root of Adam alayhi salam is the dust of the earth. As for these names being taught, then this would be things like, this is a horse, this is water, this is the sky, this is the land, this is a mountain, and so on. So in other words, vocabulary. It has also been said that the asma referred to is just simply languages in general. And he taught Adam alayhi salam all the languages at that time. And we would not have a problem with either ta'wil, because they are close in their meaning. Then he tested the malaika, tell me the names of these things, if you are truthful. So if you are truthful means, if you are truthful in your claim that you are better than mankind. So if you claim you are better than mankind, then how is it that this man has more knowledge than you? Surely the one who has more knowledge is superior. Let's look at ayah 32. قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. The malaika said, Subhanak, meaning, may you be raised and removed from imperfection. We have no knowledge except what you have taught us. Indeed, you are the knower, the wise. The word Subhanak can be used when you're surprised or astonished. It can also be used when you are displeased with something. Here we find the malaika have great reverence towards Allah Jalla wa Ala as they make tasbih of him, and they admit that they have no knowledge except what Allah has taught them. And we learn two names of Allah, Al-Alim, this is from ilm, knowledgeable. So Allah Jalla wa Ala has all knowledge. And Al-Hakim, this can take three meanings. Meaning number one, he has hikmah, he has wisdom. Meaning number two, he has the hukum, so he is the judge and the ruler, because all the ruling belongs to him. And meaning number three, he is muhkim, so he makes ihkam, which is to do something well, as opposed to a shoddy cowboy job. So this word and name Al-Hakim comes up quite a bit, so just remember that it has three elements to it. Okay, let's take some fawaid. We may pick up that Allah Jalla wa Ala is ultimately the one who teaches. So everything which you have learned, it is from the blessing of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and He is to be thanked primarily. We learn this name, Adam, comes up for the first time in the Quran, and so we find he is the father of mankind, the first man. And as for why his name is what it is, then we have mentioned two opinions. This ayah is particularly interesting because not only does it speak about the beginning of mankind, but it also speaks about the beginning of languages themselves, as Adam a.s. was taught languages and the words. And after that, of course, as the years go on, languages evolve and they change over time and they become mixed as well. So you can have a language being formed composed of other languages which came prior to it. Now this point about the languages probably contradicts what evolution theory teaches, in that man concocted the language and it evolved over time, but it came from man. This ayah of the Quran completely contradicts that. Language originally came from Allah Jalla wa Ala. He is the one who taught man. Now of course, as time goes on, man does have an effect on languages. He can chop and change words and add things in, that's fine, but originally it came from Allah Jalla wa Ala. It was not originally concocted by man. This is the point. We can take Allah Jalla wa Ala tests the malaika. Now of course Allah knows what the result will be, but He wants to make the malaika appreciate that they are not necessarily superior in all aspects. So if somebody claims to be knowledgeable or claims superiority, then it is permissible to test such a person. And in this test, look at the noble nature of the malaika, how they humble themselves and they admit that we have no knowledge except what you have taught us. So we learn a lesson here from the malaika: be humble in your knowledge, and when you do not know something, admit it. Many people, even when they do not know, they start speaking. And they fall inevitably into bloat speech, meaning useless speech, which does not benefit. Just like a computer laptop that comes pre-installed with bloatware, useless applications. We learn and affirm two names of Allah Jalla wa Ala, Al-Alim and Al-Hakim. We have explained what they mean. When we said hikmah, wisdom, then what is hikmah? It is وَضْعُ الشَّيْءِ فِي مَوْضِعِهِ لِغَايَةٍ مَحْمُودَةٍ, to place something in its proper place for a praiseworthy aim. As for placing something in its proper place, then this is adl, justice. And as for placing something in its improper place, then this is dhulm, wrongdoing or oppression. Sexual intercourse with your wife is placing something in its proper place, because you're doing that in its proper place. But fornication is placing something in its improper place, and that is dhulm. It's like fire. Placing the fire in the fireplace, that is in its proper place. But now kindling the fire out of the fireplace, well, that will burn your house down. So we say everything in its proper place. Okay, let's look at ayah number 33. قال يا آدم أنبئهم بأسمائهم فلما أنبأهم بأسمائهم قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم غيب السماوات والأرض وأعلم ما تبدون وما كنتم تكتمون. Allah said, O Adam, inform them of their names. And when He had informed them of their names, Allah said to the malaika, did I not tell you that I know the unseen in the heavens and the earth, and I know what you reveal and what you have been concealing? So just picking up on some keywords. Anbi'hum, this is an order format from naba, meaning news, so inform them. Tubduna, meaning what you declare or show openly, from bada, yabdu. And as for taktumun, from kitman, katama, meaning to conceal or to hide. Okay, so let's reflect on this ayah. We find here that Allah Jalla wa Ala is speaking, as we found before, and this is through voice and words which can be heard and understood. We find from any ayah which speaks of Adam alayhi salam the refutation against the evolution theory, that man evolved from primordial slime into some type of fish, into some type of ape-like creature, and into Homo sapien, which is the present-day human. There is simply no way you can reconcile between the two. We find that Allah Jalla wa Ala knows the seen and the unseen, and He also knows what you are concealing. We may learn that the Malaika can have an intention which they can show openly or which they could conceal. Now, it has also been said that when Allah says what you have been concealing, that He is actually referring to Iblis, who was amongst the angels. Because Iblis outwardly was showing, at that time at least, veneration and respect and obedience to Allah Jalla wa Ala. However, he did have that pride and arrogance in him as he was a jinn, which was concealed and at that time was not showing. And they say that Allah Jalla wa Ala is actually referring to Iblis, even though He uses the plural, taqtumun, you, plural, are concealing, but He's referring to one person, and they say in the Arabic language, this is allowed, it's a flexible matter. Meaning the Arabic language in this regard is easygoing and flexible. So these are two interpretations on this matter, and they're not necessarily contradictory. We can accept both of them. But then on the first interpretation, that the Malaika can conceal, we would ask, okay, what is it that the Malaika were concealing? Then we would say that what they openly declared is that this man is going to spread mischief and bloodshed on earth. And what they were concealing, meaning the hidden meaning, is that we are better than man. So you do not need to create man because you have us and we are better. So Allah Jalla wa Ala decided to show them that they are not necessarily better and superior. Mankind can have superior qualities to you. We find from this ayah that Allah Jalla wa Ala confirms His knowledge to the Malaika when He says, did I not tell you that I know the unseen of the heavens and the earth? The purpose behind Him saying this and this test in general is to show the Malaika that if you have no knowledge of these matters presented in front of you that you could not even give me the names of, then how can you possibly hope to know the wisdom of my actions when they are hidden from you? So, taking this into account, if ever you are rejected in a job application, or you are turned down in a marriage proposal, or somebody near and dear to you passes away, let's say a child or a family member, or some other calamity comes and makes its way to you, and you're wondering, how on earth could this happen? What did I do to deserve this? Then if that happens, you are going to remind yourself of these ayat where Allah Jalla wa Ala shows the Malaika that you do not even have knowledge of the things in front of you. How can you possibly know the wisdom of my actions and my decision and my qadr? So you have no recourse except to submit to the qadr and to believe that whatever happens is for a greater good. Let us look at ayah number 34. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. And when we said to the angels, prostrate yourselves before Adam, and they prostrated except Iblis, he refused and was proud and was one of the kuffar. So some keywords. Sujood, it means to be lowly and humble with tranquility. That's in the original linguistic sense. Technically, it is to put your forehead on the ground. Except Iblis. This is the first time that this word is mentioned. Iblis comes from ablasa, iblas, which means to lose hope, which is ayasa, to lose hope, and to be quiet out of grief. A sakata ghamman, to be silent out of grief. So you can see this name has a negative meaning to it. Iblis was with the angels, but he was from his origins a jinn. So he's made out of smokeless fire rather than being made out of light. Aba, meaning to refrain or refuse, was takbara, from kibr, being big. He felt himself to be too big to prostrate, so this is arrogance. And he was from the kafirin. So it means that when you refuse the order of Allah and you deem yourself too big and too important to obey Allah Jalla wa Ala, this is the characteristic of the kafir. And of course, kafir means an ingrate. Comes from the word kafara, to cover up, because an ingrate covers up the favors that were done to him and does not give thanks for them. Note also how he says, وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ, he was from the kafirin. It does not mean that he was always from the kafirin, but at that time he became from the kafirin. As before that, he was a devout worshipper. Okay, let's reflect on this ayah. We find the malaika are told to prostrate. They do so except Iblis. Prostrating should only be to Allah Jalla wa Ala, should it not? Well, we say yes, it should be. However, this was a prostration of greeting, not a prostration of ibadah. But one might say, okay, if that's the case, but is it still permissible? We say no, it is not permissible for us in our sharia to greet somebody using a prostration. But it can be possible in other shara'i', such as in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, where Yaqub and his family prostrated to Yusuf alayhi salam. This was a greeting prostration, it was not ibadah. So it could be possible in previous law systems, but not in our law system. And this then shows us that what is halal and what is haram is solely in the hand of Allah Jalla wa Ala. We take the dangerous quality of arrogance and deeming yourself too big to obey Allah Jalla wa Ala. This is the essence of kufr. So anyone who receives the message of Islam in its proper form and rejects it is only rejecting it because he has arrogance in his heart. This is the root of kufr. The ayah says they all prostrated except Iblis. It would suggest to us, would it not, that Iblis was from the malaika? We say this word illa, meaning except, is of two types. Muttasil and munqati'. Munqati' means cut off. So it really means to say they all prostrated, but Iblis did not prostrate. This is the idea. So the word illa would actually translates to but. This is called istithna munqati', a cut off istithna, where the exception being made is not of the same type as the rest of the population. Also at this stage, many ulama have questioned who is better, the malaika or man, and they have divided opinions on the matter. This ayah may suggest man is better than malaika. Other evidence, such as Allah saying that when a person remembers me with his group, I remember him in a group better than his group, that is the malaika. So that would suggest the malaika are superior. Some ulama, such as Ibn Taymiyyah, say that in this world the malaika are better, but in the hereafter, when the Muslimin enter Jannah, the Muslimin from the humans would be better than the malaika. Ultimately, this debate does not have any practical benefit or relevance, because it does not change our lifestyle practically, and therefore ultimately it's slightly useless to debate this matter, and Allah knows best.